On the night of April 14th, Iran announced the launch of dozens of drones and cruise missiles at targets in Israel. According to the IDF, more than 200 kamikaze drones, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles were fired. The U.S. air defense and British aviation are involved in repelling the Iranian attack. A number of countries in the Middle East have closed their airspace. Iran has threatened to launch a new strike if Israel responds to today's one, and warned the United States against intervening in the conflict. However, I suggest we talk today about what connects people and what separates them. Below is a love story between people whose countries have been almost openly at war with each other for many decades. It's better to love than to fight.
The artist Lytle Ben-Hayam met her future husband Venus in 2018 during a trip to Turkey. They took part in the seminar Peace in the Middle East. Since then, they have not separated, and after some time they officially registered their marriage. Their relationship is full of love and mutual support, but there is a problem. Lytle is Israeli, and her husband is Iranian. Everyone has only one citizenship, they cannot live together in their native countries, and it is almost impossible to get a job in other countries without citizenship. We traveled for a while, we were in Turkey, Georgia, Armenia, Lytle told details. Unfortunately, legally we could not stay anywhere for more than a few months. In addition, tourist visas do not allow you to look for work, and violation of the visa regime threatens deportation to the country of citizenship, which we cannot allow in any way. The only way out that Lytle and Venus found was to ask for political asylum. Which they did in Cyprus in January 2019. This process is not fast. Their request has been considered for a year and a half, and during this time the couple was left without means of livelihood, a roof over their heads, and even passports, which were taken away by the service dealing with asylum requests. Our word is against theirs. Arriving in Cyprus, Lytle and Venus found themselves homeless. They lived in a battered tent, which they transported from place to place until the wind blew it into the river along with a few belongings. Two homeless people attracted the attention of the Nicosia police. After learning their story, the police sent Lytle and her husband to a remote settlement in the mountains where other asylum seekers live. Although the problem of a roof over your head seems to be solved in this way, other problems are only multiplying. We have no support from social security services, no money for living or food stamps, Lytle said. We don't know how long we will be allowed to live here, and we don't understand at all what will happen next. Providing the most basic needs for Lytle and her husband turns into a difficult ordeal. When we were homeless in Nicosia, we accepted donations in the form of dry food packages from humanitarian organizations. They also organize hot lunches for the homeless once or twice a week. In addition, we picked up fruits and vegetables that the traders at the market threw away at the end of the day. However, now we live far from the city, 2 hours away by 2 buses, and often we don't even have money for a ticket. During the pandemic, one of the organizations sent food here for us. Sometimes we ask our neighbors, who are also asylum seekers, for money for the bus. And sometimes they share with us the food that is sent to them. In order to provide at least a minimum for themselves, Lytle and Venus launched an online fundraising campaign Support Stateless Family. Support a family without a country. Other asylum seekers living in the same settlement are often not in a better position than Lytle and Venus. As is often the case, human callousness and bureaucratic obstacles sometimes reach the point of absurdity. Some people get help from social security services, but you need to try very hard to do this. We also tried to get such help. To do this, you had to register with the employment service. But they told us that because we were homeless, we came there barefoot. They would not be able to find us an employer. However, they promised to send an urgent fax to the Social Security Service so that we would receive benefits anyway. They did so, but the Social Security Service was not satisfied with this, and they still demanded to register with the Employment Service. When we returned there, they refused to register us. We spent a lot of time beating the thresholds of one service or another, contacting various non-governmental organizations that tried, but could not help us. We wrote complaints to the appropriate authorities, and now the Employment Service says that we refuse to work ourselves. It's our word against theirs, except that we don't even have anyone to say our word to. This has happened not only to us. For example, we are familiar with another asylum seeker who was refused registration with the Employment Service because he does not speak Greek. Process. Now we are waiting for an invitation to an interview that will determine our status. We have been here for a year and a half, but many have to wait even longer. In addition, the service that reviews these applications is currently not working due to the epidemic. As we learned from other applicants, after the interview, you can wait another year or more for an answer, after which, if it is positive, the process of preparing documents begins, which also takes time. If the application is rejected, the refusal can be appealed in court. It also takes at least a year, and if the answer is negative again, you need to leave the country immediately. If this happens to us, I don't know what we'll do. Some decide to stay illegally, without documents, under constant fear of deportation, without the opportunity to work, without medical insurance and any support. Only if you buy a plane ticket, the service that deals with political asylum issues returns your passport at the airport. After a year of sending urgent emails, calls, and promises that we would get a call back, we were able to get a meeting with representatives of the Cyprus branch of the UN Refugee Agency. We weren't even invited to the office. The meeting took place outside. According to them, our application for political asylum has every chance of being approved, but they cannot in any way speed up the process or influence the government of Cyprus so that we receive at least some help. I try to reach out to other officials, but no one listens to us. Have you tried contacting the Israeli Interior Ministry? Of course, the situation is unusual, but maybe they could help. In Israel, in 2003, a law was passed that states that Palestinians married to Israeli citizens cannot obtain official status in Israel. 6 years later, this law was expanded so that it now includes citizens of all hostile states, including Iran. The lawyers who specialize in immigration law and whom I consulted explained that our marriage could not be considered an exception to this rule. One of the lawyers advised me to contact Baggett, but this means that I have to leave Venus for a while and fly to Israel alone. I don't have the money for it right now, and in any case, the chances of winning the case are very slim. Israel plus Iran equals? I traveled a lot, and even before I met Venus, I met other Iranians. I've never had any prejudice against them, and most of them are really very nice people. I would even say that among all other peoples, Israelis are most similar to Iranians, both in appearance and in mindset. As a rule, on a personal level, we get along quite well. We are very apolitical, we are not activists at all, Lytle continues. But still, I hope that in our lifetime Iran will be able to free itself from the current regime. 40 years ago, Iran was a free country, moreover, very friendly to Israel. Now people there are suffering, both domestically and from the impossibility of normal international relations and travel. My family is glad that I met Venus. Before the outbreak of the epidemic, my parents even came to Cyprus to visit us. But this whole situation, of course, breaks their hearts. They would like us to be able to live in Israel next to them. But even if Venus somehow managed to get an entry permit, what kind of life awaits him? Will we have constant problems with the police or the army just because he is from Iran? Will we be able to feel safe knowing that somewhere nearby an aggressive minority is absorbing the TV propaganda that the Iranians are our enemies? We would just like to live peacefully in a country that accepts us for who we are. We are both completely irreligious and, I think, a country that would be neither Jewish nor Muslim would be best for us. We hope that eventually our families will meet somewhere outside Iran and Israel, of course, when our situation at least clears up a little. I hope one day we can all spend the holidays together.
Thank you if you listened to the end. Subscribe, like and send your stories. Bye.